I want to ask you if you're familiar with Article 1, Section 2 of the Texas Constitution.
I don't memorize everything, so read.
That's fine. I'm not asking you if you believe in independence right now or should we leave. What I'm asking you is whose decision is it? Is it we the people or is it the legislature?
You've asked me a question I've not been asked. You've asked me a question I've not researched, and so I will follow back. And
you have to research it?
Yeah,
I just read the Texas Constitution.
Ma'am, I understand, but there will be a legal opinion on that, and I don't know what that legal opinion is, and I would want to go to the Attorney General and find out what that really says and really means and what the intent is. Reading me something for the first time that I have not looked at, and you're asking me a question, and I'm happy to give you an answer and follow up and give you the answer.
Governor Abbott, with my support and every other Republican support in the state, said we're there to help you. Texas did not take a back step.
Texas backed down earlier tonight and reopened the crossings.
Power, whether red or blue, they could not care less about Texas, me and you. They created this give me country that don't value hard work. For a Texan to survive, all we need are some seeds and dirt. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone. Texan arise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone. We believe in family and we value our community. Gladly lend a helping hand to a neighbor in need. And we don't believe that government should provide for all of society's needs. No, it's the pride of a Texan to give to others voluntarily. Texan arise, don't you hear your call? Gotta save your country, for it's long gone. Texan arise, don't you hear your call? Save your country, for it's long gone. They like our tax dollars and they love our natural resources. They don't want to see us driving trucks, they'd rather see us riding horses. And now they want to ban our guns, you know, especially the ones that look scary. But may I remind you of the Gonzales Cannon and the Alamo heroes we buried. Texan arise, don't you hear your call? Got to save our country, for it's long gone. Texan arise, don't you hear your call? Got to save our country, for it's long gone. from the Texas Constitution, Article 1, Section 1 and 2. Look it up. Texas is an independent state, yet presently we suffer. We no longer possess the right to locally self-govern. Now it's time as a people in which all political power is inherent. And in such manner we find expedient, we reform or abolish our government. I said, Texas in a rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country before it's long gone. Texas in a rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country before it's long gone.
Hey, good evening, everyone. It is time for my late night coffee talk, right? My weekly opportunity to have a cup of coffee with you and decompress a little bit about what's happened over the last week, talk about what's on my mind, and give you some insight into what's getting ready to happen, right? I mean, we're moving and grooving. Things are happening, and it is an exciting time to be a Texas nationalist. It is an exciting time. And there's a lot. I don't even know where to start, if I'm being honest. This is a decompress, and I think we're just going to let it go where it goes this week. I hope you're okay with that. Before we get started, I'd like to do a couple things. Obviously, the housekeeping, which I'll do second, but I would like to take this opportunity to wish my lovely wife, Kara Miller, a very happy birthday. Today is her birthday, and she has no problem sharing me with you guys for coffee talk. As a matter of fact, she planned her birthday dinner around making sure we got home in enough time to do this. So she's great. What can I say? what can I say, right? No, she is incredible. And she is absolutely my best friend in the world. And I will tell you that for those of you out there that have met her, that know her, that have got to be friends with her, you could not have a better ally. So to you, Kara, happy birthday. I love you very much. And, I put on the Facebook post that all of that was not because I did not steal the ruby slippers from Glenn Beck's studio, like the one of 7 pair of the ruby slippers from Wizard of Oz that they have over at Mercury Studios. Kara's a big fan, but I could not be peer pressured into breaking the law. So sorry, but I love you anyway. All right, let's get down to it. A little bit of housekeeping before we start. A reminder, we are streaming across all kinds of platforms, right? I mean, we're all over the place right now. But specifically for those of you that are on YouTube, please be sure to not only like this video, but in addition, share it with other people, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. And as always, Super Chat will be active. So if you would like to make a contribution to help keep this going, help keep this on the air, help keep keep us streaming, help make sure that we're getting the billboards up and can keep doing radio ads and doing the things necessary to make Texas happen, then please by all means, use the super chat in YouTube. If you are not on YouTube and would like to make a contribution, head over to tnm.me/donate. That is tnm.me/donate. Head over there. Every single dollar counts, and every bit of it helps. That being said, if you're watching on any of the Facebook outlets, where applicable, be sure to like and share and comment, because it helps us beat the algorithm and helps make sure that you and others see more of our posts. Same thing on Twitter. Make it happen. And then across all those other platforms, you know what you got to do. Man, we still don't have the secret sauce for Instagram. I'm kind of bummed about that. We keep talking about it. I'm going to have to do something special for all of our Instagram fans out there. My personal account, I just crossed the 10,000 follower threshold on Instagram. So I'm pretty happy about that. So you guys know what to do. As always, chat, comments, all of that is active and will be for the duration of the broadcast. All of it aggregates to that machine right there. And so it all piles in one. I will get to questions as I can. I'll read through your comments. I'll scroll through and see what I need to see. If I miss it, I am so sorry. There's never enough time to read and address them all. And, for you super chatters out there, thank you very much. I'm already seeing some of that going on, and I'll get to thanking you individually as we get through. All right. And as a follow-up to last week, someone asked me what kind of coffee I was drinking. I said, I don't know. I just poured it. Well, Kara made sure that before we got kicked off, got a cup of coffee, and she said, take the bag with you. So there is no doubt. And boom, there it is. There is the coffee bag. This is from the Avenue, right? It is a local roaster right around here in Port Neches. And it's a medium roast. And I got to say, it's quite pleasant. I like it. And, of course, I am drinking out of my Texas Now cup. And these are available on the TNM store. If you go to tnm.me/store, you can get your own. Or sitting right over there on the other side of the Texian statue over there is a box with a bunch of these in here that I bought. I personally bought them from the organization, and I'm going to be giving them away. So stay tuned for your chance to get your very own Texas Now mug. All right, let's get going. Look, we had a phenomenal week last week. We had tons of signatures still coming in from our petition circulators for the Texas petition effort. I'm going to go ahead and throw this up there on the screen. So anyone who needs to know anything about the Texas petition can go over there right now and take a look at tnm.me/petition. But we've had a great week. Lots of events happened over the last week. Lots of events scheduled coming up. And we've got some biggies, right? We've got a couple of statewide petition signing days that are getting ready to happen. You're going to want to stay tuned for details on that. And we've got some massive events that our petition circulators are going to be at. Plus, we are on the verge of launching a way that many of you that have not been able to connect with the CPC, or attend one of the events, we're going to be launching a way for you guys to sign. Something we did during the last petition campaign in 2015, and we're getting ready to roll that out again. So if you are not near a petition circulator or can't make an event, your opportunity is coming. But look, here's the bottom line. We shouldn't even be having to do those sorts of things, right? Because we need people to sign the petitions. And so the other part of this is that we need people to sign up to become petition circulators, actually to collect signatures. We get these emails every day, right? Emails, social media posts. People are like, well, if you could only just get your 400 and some odd thousand registered supporters to sign the petition, well, in a world where I had a lamp that I could rub and a genie could come out and that could just magically happen, it would already be done, right? Or if it was an online petition, but it's none of that, right? Physical signatures, you have to connect with all the people that sign. They have to be read a statement. That statement, then, once they read the statement, then they have to fill out their information, and then it has to be signed, right? And then that petition circulator has to take the petition, get it notarized. So, look, I get it. Some of you are super impatient, but what I have found is that some of the most impatient people are the ones that themselves have not signed the petition or have not volunteered to collect signatures, right? Like the same people who harass me on social media going, what's the count? Well, if you were a certified petition circulator and you participated in the weekly petition circulator webinars that are hosted by our petition coordinator and our executive director, then you would never have to ask me that question. But the fact that you were asking me that question tells me one of two things. Number one, you're either not a petition circulator, which means that you have not volunteered to put ink on a piece of paper, right? Which is a minimal amount of effort. Or number two, if you're a petition circulator, you're not participating in all the things that we are offering to make sure that you are well equipped to go out there and help us hit the goal. So either way, those are not me problems or organization problems. Those are kind of you problems. So you're going to want to do it. I mean, I'm talking like a coach, because literally tomorrow we are 2 months away from the deadline. 2 months. Now, I will say that the petition consulting company that we consulted with at the very beginning of this effort told us that it was going to be this way. They said, look, you're going to collect about 70 to 80 or 90% of the signatures that you are going to get overall are going to come in the last 2 months. Well, here it is. So what that means is we got to have a lot of people doing a lot of what they got to do, get super motivated, go get those signatures, plug in, participate. Heck, just if you did nothing more than volunteer to become a petition circulator and commit to the low level and say, look, I will collect 30 signatures, just 30. Literally, you can collect 30 signatures accidentally in 1 hour in a Walmart parking lot. And that's not an exaggeration. That has happened. Our executive director and our petition coordinator went out to a farmer's market in Comal County, right around Green, in New Braunfels, and within 2 hours collected 60 signatures apiece just by showing up, shirting up, and opening their mouth and carrying their clipboard. So it's eminently doable. You can accidentally get that many signatures if you just go out and kind of do the minimum. So go do it. If you haven't signed up to go do it, go do it. There's no excuse. Zero excuse, right? I mean, I say zero. If you're infirm, right? Because we literally have a lady who has reached out to us, who says that I can't, because she's in a nursing home. She said, I can't get out and collect signatures, but I can make phone calls to help get signatures. She's willing, from a nursing home, to make phone calls to help get signatures because she cannot physically get out and collect them herself. So, folks, there's no excuse. Zero. None. Everyone can do something. All right, so probably not going to be the last time we talk about the petition, but it's been phenomenal, right? It's been great. And, of course, we had this last Saturday, I was happy to be a part of an event that was organized, I think, in District 22, right? A family fun day out at Lake Whitney at this beautiful facility called The Place, right there on the lake. And if you get an opportunity to go out there, look them up on the internet, find them, book some time, go out there to The Place. It was a phenomenal place. Got to visit with a lot of great people. Got to get up and speak for a very short time because, frankly, I didn't want to speak. I just wanted to hang out with our people. But I did. and I just had a wonderful time. I mean, it was great to unplug, and that was fun for me. Unplugging was amounted to hanging out with our people and just shooting the breeze about everything. And of course, all we ever want to talk about is Texas independence, because that's kind of the main thing right now. So phenomenal time. Then went Monday to Mercury Studios up in Irving and taped with Chad Prather and for his show that aired tonight. It aired, if you're watching, it was 9/29, September 29th at 6 p.m. And so I started getting, while we were out at Kara's birthday dinner, my phone started blowing up. People seeing it, they thought it went quite well. So be sure, go find that video. I believe it's been shared across social media, but go find the video, share it. I finally, before we went on air here, I finally got an opportunity to watch it. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Chad for having me on the show to talk about Texas and to unpack the issues, the motivations, and good news. This is a topic that you can't talk about in 40 minutes. You can't get it all in. There's so much to it. But the good news is we've got an open invitation. Chad was very gracious, very hospitable. It was a fun interview. Had an absolute ball, both in front of the camera and behind the scenes. And he said, let's do it again. So we're going to get that scheduled. I think we're going to try to get it done on the regular and just see what we can do. But I can tell you, he's serious business about his love for Texas. I know there had been some people out there questioning his sincerity. But I could tell you from my personal, finally kind of eyeball to eyeball, he's really serious. He's like so many of us, where he's fed up with what the federal government's shoving down our throats, and he understands that the only option left for Texas, if we want to preserve what makes Texas Texas, is for us to Tex it, and he gets it. So I'm very excited about where this is going to go, and just very thankful and appreciative to Chad and for the hospitality. And it was there that I saw that one of 7 pair of ruby slippers that I refused to steal for my wife, which got me in trouble. So what do? Right? But speaking of, before I go over to chat and start looking at the Q&A, speaking of upset, now many of you probably remember the article that we posted on the site, I don't know, maybe a month, 6 weeks, 2 months ago, somewhere around there, where Texas Congressman Chip Roy, on the floor of the United States House of Representatives, almost asked the Texas question. He asked kind of a variation of the Texas question, where he asked, and this was related to the border. He said, he talked about Texas joining the Union in 1845. And then he said, if this is the way that it's going to be with the border, with the federal government not doing what it's supposed to do, then why did we even join in the first place? Right? That's almost the Texas question, right? It's almost the same question I ask all the time. If you wouldn't vote, if you had the vote today to join the Union, would you vote to join? And the answer is no, right? That's what almost, I still haven't met anyone who said yes, right? But everyone answers no. And it's like, if you would not vote to join, then why in the world would you ever vote to stay, right? So it was a variation of it. Well, Chip Roy went on a tear about the border and the NDAA wanting to draft our daughters, and on and on and on, from the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives. And I pulled some clips. I'm going to play them, 3 clips specifically. I'm going to play them, and then we'll unpack them. But here's the first one.
The American people are getting sick of this. The people of Texas are getting sick of this. And my admonition to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle is be very careful of walking this perilous journey of authoritarian actions by a president and authoritarian actions by an administration and authoritarian legislating by a Congress that is ignoring our constitutional framework, ignoring federalism, ignoring separation of powers, ignoring their duties under the Constitution, and endangering the people I represent on a daily basis, because that will not turn out well.
Whoops. Wow. So he succinctly laid out the part of the issues, right? The federal government's trampling all over. And now, granted, he did not unpack all of the issues, but he took the very basic premise, that is, the federal system, as representative of the Union of the States, is breaking the contract, is failing in its duties. It's causing Texans to suffer. And he said, and he intimated that it was intentional, and he said that would not end well. This honestly sounds like stuff that I've said. Like, it sounds like it's coming from one of my speeches, but here was what he said next.
The state of Texas is going to have to go further because the federal government is refusing to do its job. And at some point, the state of Texas is going to force a constitutional showdown, because it will be incumbent upon the people of Texas to do so. It will be incumbent upon the people of Texas to tell the rest of the country to get out of our daggum way so that we can defend the people of our state.
Uh-oh again, right? So when Texas tells the other states to get out of our dadgum way to let us defend our state, that sounds an awful lot like Texas, right? Because I'm sure Congressman Chip Roy understands that the only way that we gain control of our own immigration and border policy is by reclaiming our right of self-government, right? That's the only way to get it done. You know, it's one of the reasons that Abbott says that he, is reluctant to fully deploy the National Guard. He says because they'll just, they'll federalize the Guard and they'll send them back to the barracks. Well, interesting. What does that tell you you need to do? Because the people of Texas still need to be protected. The border still needs to be secure, right? What does that tell you? Well, it tells me, yet again, that these guys make the case for Texas. And I'm not talking about Chip Roy, right? I'm talking about the governor and his right-hand, flunky, Silent Sam, the lieutenant governor. They don't have the willpower to take it to that next step, to say, you know what, here's the deal. We're going to let the people of Texas decide whether or not we want to stay under these circumstances with a federal government that intentionally causes Texans to suffer, right? If we want to stay in that, or if we want to take our right of self-government back into our hands and become a nation among nations again and set our own immigration policy, defend our own border, and act to alleviate the suffering of the people of Texas. They won't do that. Tells you everything you need to know. Tells you that they are not serving the people of Texas. They are serving a federal system that does not serve us. Final clip.
The People's House is supposed to be a place where we're able to come together, agree under the Constitution on how to have a more perfect union. But union doesn't mean anything when the people of my state are being trampled. Union doesn't mean anything when the rights of the people I represent are not being respected, when the safety of the people that I represent is not being protected or secured, when the blessings of liberty that are supposed to be secured under the Constitution are not being secured but being trampled upon, then it will beg questions about the efficacy of union.
Text it. Because if the union is ineffective, it is structurally and inherently broken, there's only one way to fix it, right? And it's not to fix the union, because what he is essentially saying is it is an unfixable institution. There's one thing to do. Texas needs to stand among the nations. It's time for Texit. When the union no longer serves the people of Texas, it's time for Texas to become a self-governing independent nation again. And for that to happen, we're going to have the people, all the people in Texas that want Texas to happen, are going to have to work to make sure that we get the vote. We're going to have to make sure that we win the vote, and we're going to have to replace those federal government backside kissers that are in Austin with people that will stand and represent the people of Texas. Not this weak-willed tweet, sue, lose, and repeat crowd that we have. Because that's all it is. I literally had an interview with a reporter today from Epic Times, and he was asking about sort of the strength of character, the strength of will of our politicians here in Austin. And it was embarrassing to have to excoriate these guys, but specifically about Abbott and Patrick. This is what I said. I said, you want to understand where we are with our state government. I said, here's what you got to do. Look at the first, the first general regular session of the Texas legislature, right? For those of you who don't know, Texas civics lesson, the Texas legislature only meets for 140 days every other year. This was one of those years. So the legislature goes into session, right? Abbott sets the legislative agenda. Patrick goes and does his bidding. Phelan goes and does his bidding in the House, which involved an awful lot of not working. Let me just go ahead and say that. This was one of the most absentee legislatures in Texas history, right? In recent history, anyway. And so all of the things that really needed to get done, all of these, because let's be honest, again, the border crisis was still a thing, even though CNN wasn't reporting on it. It was still happening, as it has been happening for years, right? We still had people being taxed out of their homes with this onerous property tax, right? And so the list goes on, but they make it through 140 days, seemingly accomplishing very little, but coming out and doing very much like they did the previous session, talking about this is the most conservative legislative session in history. They bang that drum all the time. It's the fake it till you make it thing, right? Some people will believe that, right? But by and large, it's a lie, as it has always been. It's always, the joke about the Texas legislature. It's not so much what they said they passed as much as what they really did pass or didn't pass. All the failed pieces of legislation that were actually solid. Okay, so I digress because I could go down that road all day. But session ended. All of a sudden, challengers started coming out of the woodwork, right, for the next election cycle. Abbott got 3 challengers. Boom, 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 just like that in the Republican primary. And the thing is that that Abbott's popularity, right, his popularity is kind of low. And they do all kinds of internal polling. So all of a sudden now, all of these challenges are happening. And then what happens? Oh, well, we got to have us a special session now, right? And not just for the bill that the Dems busted quorum on, but for all these other things that should have been done in the regular session, but didn't get done, right? So now we're going to have the most conservative special session in history. It's going to be conservativer, right? I mean, is that what's going down? But understand, and this is what I told the reporter, understand something. But for the fact that there are challengers out there, people that think like the TNN, that, the people that are no longer going to put up with this smoke and mirrors, none of those things would have happened. They would have gone back to the House. Abbott would have crawled back up in the governor's mansion. Him and Patrick be like, okay, boys, it was a conservative session. We'll get them next time. Right? Oh, tough break, those Democrats. We'll get them that. But they are in danger because people aren't buying the bull crap. They're not buying it anymore. And I'm happy about that. So, that being said, this brings us to what Chip's talking about. We know now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that we're not the only ones thinking that the federal system is irreparably broken. You hear speeches like that. That is a warning shot over the bow of the federal government. He told them, they have now been served notice that their course of action is going to be a direct contributing factor to Texas withdrawing from the Union, and we won't be the only ones. So be it. We're not after a shooting war. That's not what this is. This is about getting the situation out there in front of the people and then letting the people make the decision on what's next. A Brexit style vote right here in Texas. And then I'm going to tell you this other thing, because it's not just the thing that he talked about, right? It's not just the border. It's not just immigration. It's not just NDAA, right? And the provision that will allow them to draft our daughters into military service in wartime, draft our daughters. It's things like Biden's apparently Build Back Better infrastructure bill that allegedly has, he says the cost is zero, but I'm looking at it says 3.5 trillion. So, but I guess 3.5 trillion is like nothing to them anyway, right? I mean, they don't operate on the same set of rules that you and I have to operate on, right? But let me tell you, as people have begun to drill down in that monstrosity of an infrastructure bill, the Build Back Better. I mean, what a lame name, Build Back Better. I mean, that is the worst name you could imagine, okay? But I saw this article written by Markwayne Mullins, and this was a provision, and I'm going to read this verbatim from the article, so you can take it from here, not from me. This is what it says. In an attempt to eliminate fossil fuels, this legislation would impose a fee on all methane emissions, including in our agriculture industry. Now, it goes on to say that the tax is estimated to cost, are you ready? Get ready. $6,500 per dairy cow, $2,600 per head of cattle, and $500 per swine each year. Each year. So effectively, all you vegans are about to get your wish, because apparently Biden's Build Back Better, that's getting this seal of approval from these neo-Marxists in Washington, D.C., means that they're going to tax the heck out of livestock so much they're going to drive ranchers out of business. No ranchers, no meat. No milk. Now, I spent many years traveling around on outlets like this, saying that the federal government intentionally targets the key sectors of the Texas economy. They target Texas, energy and agriculture. Now, granted, we've diversified our economy, right? We're big in tech, but you don't think for a moment that oil and gas have anything to do with the tech sector. You don't know what you're talking about, right? So all of these things are tied in. So it is a direct attack on the Texas economy. They're going to shut down oil and gas. right? If we stay, this is where they're headed. Oil and gas, now agriculture, and then all the resulting industries affected. And we said it was coming. We said it was coming, and people said we were crazy. Oh, you're just trying to blow it up to get support for Texas. No, well, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get support for Texas, but I don't have to exaggerate. That's what you don't get. I don't have to exaggerate. All I got to do is look at where things are and use some common sense and reasoning and say, if we stay here, this is what it's going to be. You know, like back in the good old days when the federal debt was $4 trillion. And we said it's going to balloon up. It's going to continue to balloon up. We're looking at 20 or 30, perhaps even 100 trillion by the time it's all over with. Who said, oh, it's not going to happen? Well, yeah, it's going to happen because it happened. Just like we said. Unbelievable. All right. So that's kind of where I'm at with things. That's what's been on my mind. And of course, that has done nothing. All of this has done nothing but increase the growth of the organization. I mean, it's just, people are signing up left and right. We have had a massive influx of petition circulators today, and and an influx of registered supporters and volunteers. And so what I think I'm happiest about is not so much kind of that we've got new people in, but we're seeing people that are already in become more energized, become more aware of the urgency of this matter so that we can get this job done. This thing is, I said it before, Benjamin Franklin, you cannot be expected to be transported from tyranny to liberty on a feather bed. Not looking to carry anybody across the finish line. We will do it as a natural byproduct of our success, but everyone needs to pull their weight. Everybody needs to share the burden. All right, let's get down to brass tacks. I am scrolling way back up. All right, so let's get this thing done. Oh man, I've almost gotten rid of all my coffee at this point. This is crazy. Okay. Oh man, already scrolling. All right. So if you sent me something on here in the first 4 minutes or so, I did not see it. I am very sorry. Yes. Okay. Rolling down through. Here we go. Oh, hey, reload. Thank you very much.
Oh, I heard.
Oh, that was not a message to you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and I'm seeing some messages here. Hey, thank you for all of you who for the well wishes for doing Chad's show. Man, he made it super easy. It was a great interview. We just had a conversation, and I like to have conversations. So he was a great interview. And the staff there were fantastic. Okay, super. Thank you. Okay, man. All right. Hey, there we go. JNC Travel, thank you for your super chat. Thank you very much. Oh, there we go. Somebody's pushing me on the lieutenant governor thing. There's a decision made. Just stand by. Initially we were going to do it October the 2nd. Oh, that was the other thing I'm supposed to announce tonight. Although there was, we were going to make an announcement October 2nd. There have been some quite interesting developments. So there will be no announcement October the 2nd, but it will be in the next couple of weeks. So buckle up. Something's getting ready. It's about to be a big deal. Look, and here's the other thing too. If you want to be among the first to know what's going to happen, go right there. Go to that website. That is my website. And make sure you go sign up today. Viva says, I'd like to invite, yeah, thank you for the super chat. I'd like to invite you and Nigel Farage to Lindale for another great night at Brisket Love. Let's make it happen. If you can get Nigel and I to share the same stage, I might wear a paper pirate hat from Long John Silver's, because I don't know that Nigel will. Although that would be loads of fun. But I'd be all over it. You make it happen. Okay. Donna, hey, thank you for the super chat. Yes, a good reminder. Come and Take It Festival in Gonzales is this weekend, and there's a lot of stuff going to be. Obviously, the T&M will have a booth there, and there will be petition circulators all over the place collecting signatures. So if you are in or around, well, look, if you got to travel to go to Gonzales, it is a great opportunity to be in the city where the Texas Revolution jumped off, on the anniversary of the day where it jumped off, right? Gonzales, the home of the Come and Take It flag, arguably the start of the Texas Revolution. That act of defiance, it really set the tone for where everything went. And just go, right? Go to the Come and Take It festival and bring people, send people. I do believe it's on the events calendar right now, but go out there, sign the petition, and patronize the town. They make a heck of a celebration out of it. Okay, Havoc Grounds. Hey, thank you for your super chat. Howdy from Breckenridge, Texas. What's the signature total so far? Oh, awkward, because I literally talked about that at the very beginning. So, Clark says, have you heard the CDC is addressing gun control as a public health issue through the disguise as gun violence? Yeah, that they've been working that track for a long time, right? It was Everytown USA and what's the other one? I can't remember the other organization. Mobs Demand Action. That's been the approach that they've wanted to take. And of course, seeing as how the federal government has basically empowered the CDC to be dictators, it wouldn't surprise me if they get their way. And with this red flag law that's coming out on the federal side, where they're effectively going to criminalize veterans and prevent them from owning firearms, that doesn't sound like a public health issue. That sounds like heading off problems at the pass before you're going to do something dastardly, and disarming the people who can actually do something to stop you. So, all right. Let's scroll down through here, folks. Thank you so much. Yes, the study says this is the single most important movement of our lifetime. This is it. This is going to be the defining moment, not just for our generation, but it is going to write the history of Texas. What happens in these next weeks and months is going to dictate the next 100 years of Texas history. All right. Bingo. Okay, this is an interesting question. How does secession play out with international interest that's already swayed by our federal government? I'm not entirely sure what that question means, but look, there is no way to examine the idea of states withdrawing from the Union outside of an international context, right? And I say that because, number one, decentralization, like what we're doing, self-determination, self-government, is an international trend and has been for 70 to 80 years now. The stat that we talk about the number of fully recognized, fully sovereign, self-governing countries around the world at the end of World War II being around 54. By the end of the 20th century, there were 192, right? So you have this what is definitely an international trend toward decentralization and independence. The two real kind of, I guess you would say, odd ducks are the United States, which has been resistant to this for a lot of reasons, culturally, politically, economically, and the European Union, which is just caught up in some kind of anachronistic madness. Those have been somewhat resistant to this. But what we're seeing is cracks of the European Union, specifically through Euroscepticism, the withdrawal of the UK, the growth of Euroscepticism in Greece and France and Italy, Hungary and Poland, and the likelihood that one or more of those countries I just listed will also withdraw from the European Union in the next 10 years. So, there is this international flavor to it. But if you're talking and you're questioning specifically about, perhaps maybe you're talking about the United States swaying these other countries to not trade with us. At the end of the day, what really matters internationally is pragmatism, right? That the only international language is pragmatism and money. And at the end of the day, we understand that if the United States harms Texas economically, they harm themselves probably worse than they're harming us. In doing so, if they were to harm us through some international means, right, through AKA, they convince other countries to embargo us, which I don't think is likely, and I can explain that here in a moment if you'd like. But if they were to convince that to happen, understand that any economic issues they cause for us, any slowdowns of production or exports or imports, it only serves to hurt them more than it does us. And you look at the economic factors behind that, right? The size of our ports, the amount of manufactured exports that Texas has. Look at oil and gas, not just production, but refining. You look at agriculture, even those industries they are trying to decimate right now, they don't understand. That's a poison pill. They go down that road, Texas will leave, and they could starve, right? I mean, we know that the other end of that is starvation and deprivation and all those things. So the bottom line is that even if they did try to meddle and try to harm Texas in those ways, it's only going to cause them more grief. They're going to be the ones that hurt worse than we do. Now, that being said, if the United States were to step up and say, okay, look, we want to try to get an international embargo against Texas, the rest of the world is going to look at it and they're going to go, okay, so you promoted self-determination for 75 or 80 years. You sold self-determination around the world. And now you want us to embargo these people, not because they committed acts of terrorism, right? Like when they convinced the world to go after sanctions in Iran or things, not because they fomented terrorism, but because they voted for the thing that you fought for 70 to 80 years, right? So from a pragmatic standpoint, those other countries want to trade with us. They do not want to embargo us because they know that we are not, if not one of the economic engines of the Western Hemisphere, and it would hurt them just as bad. So, I don't foresee that. Okay, so scroll, man. I lose so much when I go into these, but that was a good question. I appreciate that one. I'm never unhappy talking about the big picture stuff. I really enjoy it. Okay. Yep, Jake. Jake mentioned the punitive taxation on the state of Texas and the infrastructure bill. That's what I was talking about. You guys are fired up over Chip Roy's speech. Yeah, and here's one too. The infrastructure bill also has a clause that states the federal government will fine businesses $700,000 for each instance of unvaxxed employees. Page 168. I'll look for that. I've heard that. I have not read it, but they've already said they were going to punish companies that did not enforce vaccine mandates. So, look, this is where they're going. This is where it's headed. Chip Roy said we're headed to a constitutional showdown. We're beyond a constitutional showdown. Now we're at a Texas solution. That's where we have to go next. Yes, property taxes. Lots of people railing on property taxes. And that reminds me, if you have been negatively impacted by property taxes, I'm going to ask you to go over to my website, danielomiller.com/property taxes, and record your video testimony. I am doing something very similar to what we did for House Bill 1359, but very specific to property taxes, because it's time that the people of Texas spoke up and had their say on how onerous, how burdensome, and immoral the property tax is. So head over there and check that out. Okay, rolling down through. Michael says, when can we see a list of the Texas senators and representatives that are non-friendly / non-committed to Texas posted on the TNM website? They are. If you go to our website hang on, let me find it. If you go to our website, on the menu at the top, and you are logged in, wait, I am wrong. Somebody's got to go in there and put the link. I do believe it is tnm.me/legislature. Legislature. I'm just going to do it. What do you know? I got it right. tnm.me/legislature. You will go there and you will see the non-committals, the opposers, the supporters, and it's for both houses. And I got to tell you, one of the things that we have not talked about that I find quite exciting is the sudden retirement bloodbath. That's been funny. Yeah. It's been quite interesting to see how many people have decided in the legislature have decided that, maybe it's not a good idea that they run for reelection. Now, some are going to, run for different offices, based on redistricting, or, they're retiring out. Some hit their retirement, but it's been kind of a bloodbath. And I spoke with someone. I'm not going to mention her by name on here, but she is fairly well connected inside Texas politics, and her take on it was she feels that Abbott is performing so poorly in internal polling that these guys don't think that Abbott can come rescue them from tough fights in their primaries. So they are bowing out to avoid embarrassment. So be it. Bye. Okay. So let's roll through here. Just going. All right. Christopher Milton says, hey, North Texas, we need to bombard via calls and emails to WBAP's Chris Salcedo, Rick Roberts, and Chris Kroc. Okay, Rick Roberts and Chris Kroc. That sounds like some Marvel comic book stuff, right? The alliteration, that's like Stan Lee territory. He says, need to bombard them with Texas solutions to their on-air harumphs. I have not heard their harumphs, although bombard them. Tell them have me on. Look, if they want to have a debate on it, I'm in. Anywhere. I'm your Huckleberry. Okay, let's roll down through here. Man, you guys are tearing it up tonight, and it's a lot to scroll through. Yeah, cow flatulence tax. That's what I was talking about earlier. Guys, you all see the challenge. I'm looking through here, looking for particular questions. Havoc says, looks like I'll have to get on board as a circulator. Breckenridge, Texas, plenty of people that would sign over here. Do it. Many hands make light work. I cannot drill that home enough. If you know some people, just sign up, go become a petition circulator. It's literally like 30 minutes of videos that explain the law and how to do this thing legally. And then you print the page, and then you go collect the signatures, go get the pages notarized, and then send them in, and boom, your petition circulator. Okay, somebody's posting the links to the YouTube video where I was on Chad's show. Thank you for that. Huffines was on Tucker Carlson, right? We had, I think, Alan West last week. Don Huffines was on Tucker this week talking about the border issue. And to your point, don't know who asked. Oh, Noah. No, I did not have an opportunity to watch it. But I'm looking forward on the replay. Hey, Joe. Joe Central Texas is new paying member here. Joe, let me publicly welcome you to the team. Thank you for joining us. Okay. Yeah, Warren says, as I traveled around Texas, I am seeing many of the dairy farms shut down, and today I saw many drilling rigs shut down. People, it is happening. Yes, it is happening. Very much like when we had someone on a couple of months ago in the chat on this very broadcast swearing up and down that the border issue wasn't happening and that Abbott was already down there with a big force and protecting and everything else. And it's like, no, that's not what's happening at all, yo. Not at all. Hey, Benny, also, oh, yeah, you've been a new member for about 3 weeks now. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Todd Bullock says, go TNM. It is time to text it. We have to leave and oppose the federal beast. We got to stand up. It was Sam Houston who said that Texas will again lift its head and stand among the nations. That is the way that it is. It's time for that to happen now. And no matter, it's interesting because people come at us with all these different issues, very specific policy things. And it's like, guys, you don't understand. So much of what is happening here is controlled or driven by the federal system. Your first step is to get the federal government out of the equation. That you get them out of the equation completely by Texas becoming a self-governing independent nation again. Look, that's the thing that attracted me to Texas independence on August 24th, 1996, was the realization that instead of hacking at the branches, we can cut it at the root, right? Stop hacking at the branches. Strike the root. And that root is the federal government. Get them out of the equation. Have Texas become a self-governing nation among nations like, 195 other self-governing, independent nations around the world. And then bada boom, bada bing, then we can actually start having legitimate policy debates on everything else and can govern ourselves the way that we want to be governed. I'm kind of wound up tonight. The doc says, let's hoist the Lone Star banner over the moon. I have a photoshopped picture somewhere of the Texas flag on the moon. It's like with the astronauts. I always thought that was pretty cool. Okay, so Chris McKinney says this. He says, I've been getting messages big time about signing the petition, and it's going to happen. We're trying to get everybody and their dog to events to sign it or to connect with the CPC. But he says, but with my new work hours, it's hard for me to get to them all. We need someone to do an event in Erath and Hamilton County. All right. So you heard the request. I'm not sure who is district director over there, specifically for those two counties, but you heard it. It's on the broadcast. You guys work it out. Let's get something over there for those folks to sign. Yes, I already talked about the Come and Take It celebration in Gonzales. Wow, guys. Y'all are tearing it up tonight, and I'm officially out of time. I said I was going to be a little more on time this week. Yeah, I like that. The study says, hey, let's all get on the same page. Does anyone here feel united with the other states of America? I sure as heck do not. Well, I don't know that any of us do. So let's roll through this. All right. Hey, John, thank you for your super chat. You say, thanks for all you do. No, sir. Thanks for all you do. Thank you for your support. It's hard to do what we do without support, and we're this close to making this happen. So each one, many hands make light work, right? Hey, Viva, thank you for your super chat. Oh man, I blasted past it, didn't get the chance to read it. I'm sorry, but it was the weekly quote. Okay, well, we'll have to double up next week. Okay, Lisa says, since Texas has no income tax, isn't property taxes the main way we pay for state services? No. Texas collects a sales tax. Now, the property tax lobby, the folks that want to keep charging you rent to live in your house, will tell you that we cannot survive without property tax. But it is a failure on their part to understand basic economics, right? If you don't have to pay property tax, that money stays in your pocket. It becomes discretionary income. And by becoming discretionary income, you spend it more. Property taxes reduce the price for people that live in rent housing, right? Things of that nature, et cetera, because those property taxes are passed on to the end user. Typically, it's all passed through. So the bottom line is, with more money circulating in the economy, more of that money gets collected through state sales tax. So, the property tax folks, the pro property tax folks, would have you believe that if we eliminate property tax, the entire system will collapse. But that can't be the case, because we've seen legislative proposals, including one filed in this session by State Representative James White, that dealt with a phased out approach to property tax, a phased out abolition of property tax. And you know what? That proposal didn't see the light of day. A bill filed by the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee that would have eventually ended property tax was completely ignored by none other than, and my guess, I don't know this, I'd have to go look, but my guess is that bill was probably referred to State Affairs with Chairman Chris Patty. That would be my guess. Somebody fact check me, go look it up, but I'm gonna tell you, I think that's the case. Okay, let's go through the list. Okay, I'm just gonna scroll down real quick. I'm gonna see if I can pick up any super chats. Elliot Axelman from New Hampshire posted in the chat. He says, I think 13 state reps are now on board with New Hampshire independence. That is phenomenal. I passed your information along to the reporter today, so I hope he was able to connect up with you. We actually talked a good bit about New Hampshire and Texit and Calexit and everything. It was a great discussion. Benny says, and thank you for the super chat, have you considered going on to other independent shows here on YouTube? Absolutely. I was on Turley's show. I mean, there's others. I'd like to do more. But you also have to remember, we're reaching out to as many of these people as possible. By and large, those shows respond not to us contacting them, but to viewers, listeners, people who watch, whatever it is, contacting them and saying, hey, you really need to interview fill in the blank. That's what got us on Tom Woods, and so many others. Okay. Comments from Michael, who wants to something about District 29 TNM supporters. You want their petition signatures. Michael, they're probably not going to see this in the chat. But if you send an email to petition@thetnm.org, it'll go straight to them. Okay, J and C says, discuss Matt Rinaldi's comments on Texas referendum not getting passed by Republican Party Executive Committee and on the primary ballot. Yeah, let me talk about that real quick, because there was an article posted on Spectrum News from a super nice reporter over there who we've done some stories with. But Matt Rinaldi, chairman of the Republican Party of Texas, seemed to indicate in his comments, and I have not reached out to him personally, but I am going to, that they may not put it on the ballot. And, you know, even if we cross the threshold, you know, as far as the executive committee. Now, if you read between the lines, right, you start kind of reading it exactly what he said. It was that the executive committee wouldn't put one on there, but he also said that they would do their statutory duty under the Texas Election Code, which does not give them an option to not put it on the ballot, right? You cross the threshold, it goes on the ballot. The only discretion they have are technical corrections related to the wording, right? And I was very clear. I was very clear with the reporter. I was very clear with people here, other people here in the TNM, is that we cross the threshold of petition signatures, it should go on the ballot as it is read. If the executive committee tries to substantively change what question goes on the ballot after we have crossed the signature threshold, we will absolutely 100% litigate. It's just the way it's going to go. Texans want this. And look, at the end of the day, the people who get the black eye on that would be the Republican Party of Texas. And trust and believe they are not going to want to cross that. We already had legislators that stood between the people of Texas and a vote on Texit. If they want to go ahead, if they want to burn their party down to a pile of ashes by standing in front of Texans and a vote on Texit, that's their business. But I would not recommend it. Okay, guys, I am well over time. And someone is saying, "Can you please call me when this is finished?" No, I don't. Just call into the office. We have an 800 number, 800-662-1836. You can go tnm.me/contact. I don't set appointments in YouTube chat. Sorry. Okay. Rolling down through here. Look, I think we nailed it all. Man, I think we got through all the questions. I thanked all the super chats. There's a lot of discussion going on in there. But we'll have to save that for another time. I am just about done with my coffee. And it's been jam-packed, right? So what I will do then is just a quick reminder of all the calls to action that I talked about tonight. Number one, if you have not signed the petition, head over to tnm.me/petition. There it is. Find your nearest petition circulator on the map, or find a petition signing event and go there and get it done. Additionally, while you're on that page, why not sign up to be a petition circulator yourself? Help us get across the finish line. Additionally, if you do believe, like we do, that Texans were not represented in this last legislative session, I'm going to encourage you to go here, tnm.me/run for office. We have got a lot of candidates that have signed on at that link, a lot of potential candidates, people who are, they're phenomenal folks. They said enough is enough. I'm tired of not being represented. I'm tired of Texians not being represented, and I will go and I will do that. And so to all of you that have entered into the hopper, thank you very much. And if you have got an inkling in your body to help serve the people of Texas and to help us challenge every single incumbent that stood between Texans and a vote on independence in this last legislative session, we need you. tnm.me/run for office. And then, of course, if you are not a member of the TNM, head over to tnm.me/join to become a member of the Texas Nationalist Movement today. And then One final thing, if you're on Twitter, sure would love to have you as a follower at the Texian DM on Twitter. Would definitely love to see you over there. And, it's Twitter. Whatever, right? All right. So let's bring this thing to a close. I will leave you with the words that I'll leave you with every single solitary week. I will remind you of these words spoken by Sam Houston, and I actually said them a little bit earlier, right? He said that Texas will again lift its head and stand among the nations. I believe that time is now, and the question is, will you stand with her? Good night, everyone.